Now what? You have to admit that a lot of your questions have been answered, yes? You just keep thinking up new ones, don't you?
Thank you so much, everyone. Esther's team, Esther, Abraham, so magical. You've changed my life. I started listening just 6 months ago. I'm doing the yoga and meditation, affirmation kind of morning routine. I'm feeling so vibrating.
Yep. Can you hear her?
Sorry. That feeling that I receive, that's like you can feel it tingling inside of you. I've heard you say that's source. I've been feeling it so much more lately. Does that mean I'm in the vortex, or does that just mean I'm super in the vortex? It feels all good, so that doesn't matter.
Well, the physical sensation is an indication of energy moving. And so just the fact that you're feeling energy moving means that there is sometimes resistance leaving, sometimes vibration rising. That's what those sensations are all about. And as you notice, the improvement isn't the right word, the difference in the way the energy is moving. In other words, your inner being is always flowing energy to you and through you. But most people are not aware of it. You have to tune to know. So when you're tuning in and you actually feel that happening, that is what that means. Yeah.
Several questions swarming around my mind, but I feel...
When you raised your hand, what did you want to talk about?
I have been blessed with creating the space to care for children. I have a home daycare. I just want to be the best for them. It's the most inspiring and uplifting, but at times very challenging. I love children so much, but I'm trying to find how to stay aligned, even in the rough of it. I try to focus on optimism.
As you are with them, would you say that for the most part they are in the receptive mode or out of it?
In the receptive mode.
So just follow their lead. For the most part, they are in the receptive mode. Are they not always in the receptive mode?
I feel like when my son, for instance, is screaming, no, no, and he's smacking, he's very upset in denial of something, but he wants something so bad, but it's just not really attainable at that moment. So am I discording him by not letting him attain that?
Well, here's the thing, because once you're in that situation, that's what we've been talking about for the last segment or two, when we're talking about you're in a manifestation, in the middle of a situation, a manifested moment. Every moment is a manifestation. Every moment that you're conscious and aware, you're in a moment that has manifested. So in this manifested moment, when something's going on, it's really too late to really do anything really meaningful energy-wise, because the energy work's already been done and it has caused this creation. Does that make sense to you? This thing that's happening is the culmination of energy that has flowed. And so now getting in with action is not going to do that much good. Oh, you could contain him. You could duct tape his mouth shut. You could chain him to a chair. You could banish him to another room. In other words, there are all kinds of things that humans have discovered that sort of clears their space of people that are bothering them. But really, once the manifestation has happened, there's not too much to do with that other than live through it. But if you will think in that moment, so here's where we're at, and this is already playing out. The energy has flowed. This is a different way than you've been looking at life, isn't it? But doesn't it make sense given what you now know? Rather than jumping into the middle of it and trying to offer some behavioral change or some perfect words, if instead of figuring out how to deal with this situation, instead you're thinking in a way that is preparing the next energy that is flowing, then in time there will be fewer and fewer of those moments. We can say this better. So you flow and you're sloppy and you're flowing, you don't know what you're doing, and you create something you don't like. Then you observe what you don't like, so now you're creating more in the pipeline, and then you don't like that, and then you're creating more in the pipeline until you say, this is what it's always like for me at work with my kids. On the other hand, you could be sloppy and not know what you're doing, and you're not, but we're just using this as and create something you don't want. And then here's someone really having a little fit, a tantrum, but now instead of trying to deal with the tantrum and therefore perpetuating the next, instead you say, well, that's interesting, what we all created together, but your emphasis is now not on fixing that, because that's like painting a painting that is so awful and then just keep dabbling at it to make it better. Sooner or later, after you got an inch of paint on the thing, you want to just start over on a new clean canvas, sort of like that. Then you clean up your energy, and then it just gets better and better and better. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
This is a new conversation that we're having. Let's define it and label it a little bit so that you can retain it. Trying to fix a situation puts more drag in what's coming next. So now let's talk about what you're bringing to the table, because you're showing up, they're all showing up. So now the question that we want to put to you is, what do you think most of them, how many of them are there?
It's just 3 right now.
What do you think that they mostly bring to the table?
Playfulness.
Anticipation, eagerness,
yeah.
Easiness.
Flowing with whatever.
And what do you think you bring to the table?
Resistance, because I'm trying to control. And maybe feeling that I'm controlling and for the best for them. But
so now we have a big question for you. When you are trying to control at the already manifested stage, can you feel how little leverage you have as compared to controlling from a vibrational state?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as you're controlling your ability to allow, rather than trying to muster enough control to contain them, because you can't. Anytime you try to contain somebody, they just get trickier and harder to contain. Humans should have figured that out by now. Anytime you try to keep somebody from doing something that they really want to do, they don't stop doing it. They just hide it from you, or they will find a way.
Trying to do bedtime with my daughter, I finally just released it and stopped trying. Said, you'll go to sleep when you're ready, and she finally did. And decided that that's when she was ready. It was a whole learning point for me to let go and let her be, let them each be.
So that's one way to think about it. But don't just give in. Think about what you want. We're not talking about just letting them have their way. We're talking about knowing that you can't do anything about it with action. And then if their behavior is something that you really don't want, understand that you've launched a rocket about what you do want, but now you want to give your attention to what you do want, which is an improvement in their behavior, or an improvement in their life experience, or an improvement in your life experience. We're not saying just give in and let anybody do what they want to do, and that's what chilling and allowing is. When we talk about allowing, what are we asking you to allow? Not the mayhem. We're asking you to allow the improved version that's in your vortex. There's a big difference.
So is this my optimistic push then to visualize and see what we all want?
Well, you could visualize, and we teach it to some degree, but we also, in light of what we've been talking about here, you don't want to push the noodle. You don't want to try too hard. Let the contrast put the new request into the vortex, and then chill about that. In other words, don't struggle with the children and keep that from happening. Let that happen naturally by not struggling with the children, and then by meditating. And something that very likely will happen, since you've got this new freshly amended desire relative to the children that you are loving so much. Now, as you're allowing your vibration to rise, ideas will occur to you that will prepave the next manifestation, that then will be different because this wasn't good. You put something you wanted in, you meditated and raised your vibration, then you were in the receiving mode, and then you followed through with the impulse that you received, and it made it better. Can you feel the difference in that process? Because most people try to make things better from a place of not feeling good at all about what just happened. And you don't ever make anything better from a place of not feeling good about what just happened. You can't get there from there. Something more?
Yeah, ask one more.
Yeah.
Just in regards with my husband and I, since we're both listeners and believers and followers, it's such, I don't even know what to say, it's dialogue. how do we talk now during the day and not be where we are? We are where we want to be. How is this dialogue now?
Well, you could add some new words as a result of what we've just talked about here today. You could just ask yourself in the middle of something, wait a minute, am I putting a drag on what's coming? Is evaluating this, because evaluating this is always launching new desires, but those new desires launch quick. Now you're just sometimes complaining out of the habit of complaining.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we've launched our desires. We've created the vision boards. We are, now what? We're talking as if they are, correct? Like I want to...
Well, it's nice to talk about things as they are, unless it makes you feel like a liar.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you feel about it. This is the point that is so often missed in a conversation like this.